What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Dylan Talks Tone. Today we got a little kind of goofy setup here. We got the Mojo Tone winder, we've got a pickup bobbin, we've got another empty bobbin, and then we've got a few cameras. I'm hoping to be able to get through this and give you a few angles. We get a lot of questions about how to wind pickups, and I'll just give you a little taste about how we do it. And more so, maybe less how we do it, because, I don't know, I just do it now. I think we've wound probably 10,000 of these, well, I know about 10,000 of these things. So we're just, it's just kind of second nature, and it will be for you. But just getting going, I'm going to give you a couple of little pointers that you can get one of these Mojo Tone winders or one of the tone winder ones as well, the manual tone winder one, and give you a couple of, I'll leave links to both of those in the description of those winders. I'll give you some links to a couple of places where you can get materials from, that sort of thing. And yeah, I think you will dig it. I think you will enjoy at least understanding the basic mechanics of how a pickup is wound. If it's something that you want to try, I totally encourage you to do it. A lot of people give me a hard time, like, I can't believe you're doing that because it's going to hurt your business. No, I think you should learn. This is really fun. It's something that I think you should learn. You may never start a business doing it, but if you get to try a couple, at least you know. And then you'll know what goes into making them too, because there is value in understanding the skill and the knowledge that it takes to do this stuff. So I think that I definitely encourage you to do it. So let's go ahead and set up all these cameras, get everything rolling, and I'm going to show you how to wind your first pickup. All right, so let's talk about a couple of things. Tension. We're really only pulling enough tension to just keep tension on the wire. Okay, so we don't want it loose, but we don't want it, we don't want to let it hop out of the guides, obviously. We want downward tension here, and we don't want to be pulling back on the wire, because if you stretch the wire, you'll actually change the resistance of it, believe it or not, over a period of time. So what I do is I use the first line in my finger right here, and I set the wire in it, and then I put my thumb on top of it. As I put up my thumb on top of it, I don't press down, I just use it to maintain some tension. And then what I do here is I put my other fingers underneath. This wire is moving back and forth and back and forth and back and forth underneath. So I kind of like fan my fingers out underneath. And then when we start talking about side angle, from this angle you can see I like to have about 45 degrees. If I go up too high, I can hop out. If I go too low and underneath here like this, we'll introduce too much tension and start having too much issue. Now, one of the other things that can happen as we sit here and wind is as you sit here and I like to have about, well, let me say this first. I like to have about an inch or so between my hand and the spindle, the bar here. And what can happen is you can have the tendency to start leaning back and leaning back. Every person I've ever taught how to wind pickups, they do this over time. Lean back, lean back, lean back, lean back, and you'll lose control of the wire that way. So typically what I do is I actually, oh, look at there. I'm sitting here goofing around and I pull the wire out from the bobbin. So typically what I do is, this is why I have the spacing of the winder from the edge of the desk to here, because then that allows me to plant my hand on the side. So what I typically tell people to do is just crack the throttle a little bit and then just start getting used to the wire going through your fingers. Like just realize that you're really not imparting a lot of tension to the wire. Okay, so we're going very slow here. The wire is barely coming out. Very, very slow. And we just want to just give an idea of the tension. I'm not worried about the traverse. I'm not worried about making, quote unquote, a good pickup right now. We just want to feel the tension of the wire. And as we start to go through and get a little bit more tension coming, or a little bit more speed coming, that also changes everything. The more you put speed to it, the easier it is actually to maintain tension. So if you can look from the side there, you'll see my angle, okay? So about 45 degrees. We don't want to come too far under like this, and we don't want to come way up high like this because we'll lose control. So that 45 degrees, something right about there, and I've got my hand planted on the side, and I've got my fingers underneath the wire so that it swings around as it comes off this spool, okay? So let's just go up to my speed. And of course, there's all kinds of religions about, you know, how much you scatter and what your wine count per layer is and all that kind of stuff. And I know this is noisy, but this is what it is. So hopefully you can still hear. And we're just going to go through this. And this is going to be boring. Now, one of the things I will tell you is when we're learning, I like to go about 500 wines, and then I like to stop and see what the tension looks like. And when I teach people, I can tell, you know, if it's too tight, if it's too loose, if it gets a little too baggy, etc. And see if it's like building too big on this side or too big on this side, for example. This isn't very even because I've been showing you stuff, so let me run this thing for a little bit and we'll get it evened out a little bit. I'm using the light to look across the top edge of the bobbin here, whoops, to see the straightness of the coil. Normally I don't start out this lumpy, but since I was trying to show you stuff, it's a little lumpy. So let's get it cleaned up here a little bit. About every 500 wines or so, or 1,000 wines, as you're learning, stop it and check. The other thing I will tell you is you don't want to be moving around or making a bunch of adjustments. If you start to pull back a little bit, don't. Well, here, let's just do it. How about that? So our natural inclination as a human being, as we relax in the chair, is just to start pulling back and pulling back and pulling back. Now, if you get back here and you're like, oh, I need to adjust, stop the machine, make the adjustment, and start up again. As you get better at it, you'll be able to move around, do all kinds of stuff, answer the phone, watch YouTube videos, listen to podcasts, pet the dog, whatever you got to do, you know. But at the beginning, you're going to be pretty concentrated on how it feels coming through your hands and the tension and not breaking a wire and that sort of stuff. And it really is this exciting. Whoops. Since I had to fix this up a little bit, I'm double checking it, and it looks pretty good. Boom. Done. So there you go. That looks pretty nice. All right, so one of the things I'll say is, obviously winding at full speed is winding at full speed. You saw how long that took. If the first one or the first 10 or the first 20 take you 3 times as long because you have to go at a third of the speed, don't be in a hurry. Just learn that tension, learn how all that feels. If you break the wire on the first one, just wrap it around and keep going. Just fill up a bobbin with a bunch of junk. Just go over and over and over until you get through a whole bobbin without breaking wire. And then just cut the wire off, throw it in the trash. Like maybe dedicate one of these small rolls from, this one's not from StewMac, but you can get these little rolls from StewMac. I'll leave a link to some of this stuff in the description. And get one of these little rolls and just sacrifice, you're just going to sacrifice some material. You're just going to be learning, And if you end up with a tangled up mess, just cut it off, throw it in the trash, and start over. On the grand scheme of things, yeah, it's some investment of material, but it's worth it. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this little playing around, winding a pickup. If you have any other questions about this stuff, get in the comments and let me know. I think these kind of videos are kind of fun. If you want to see any of this other stuff around the shop, we did get requests to do a Telecaster control plate. So we're going to do that probably later this week. If you want me to dive into magnetizing, bobbin pressing, soldering, any more of that kind of stuff, just let me know and we'll do it. Thanks for hanging out.